Hey guys, how's your boy MKS here, back with another video, and welcome to part 2 of my shopping list for Christmas, or as I call it, Xmas for short, and I suppose for life generally. And so my Christmas wish list, if you like, or shopping list, or whatever you want to call it. If I had more energy and didn't have writer's block, I would love to write in like shoppers pads, or whatever you call them, those little pads, or like sort of little notebooks that you get where you can just write a shopping list. But I thought, but if I could, I'd write up my dreams for life. But and I always have these ideas when I go to write them down. Sometimes I seem to forget them, or for whatever reason struggle to get them onto paper. But anyway, I hope you enjoy this video. And another thing is, as I say, I would love to have done more writing as well. But as I hope you enjoy these videos, and as ever, I'd love to know what you think, what your dreams are, and what your shopping list would be for Christmas, or even life, just generally, generally, if I can pronounce it properly, and also what you think are some noble or honourable goals. And I'd also love to know whether you think at Christmas time people should be able to be selfish, or you think it's a time for giving and sharing, or do you think it should be a bit of both, like give and take? I think it'd be interesting to hear what people say or read what people think about. Like, do you think Christmas is a time where you can get away with being selfish, or should be able to get away with being selfish, or do you think it's a time where we should like look at helping others? I think it'd be cool to help like homeless and disabled and vulnerable and disadvantaged people generally, but I'd love to know what other people think, and I hope people will be as honest as possible and not judge each other too much. And as always, I'd love for people to be positive in the comment section, but you are free to post whatever you want. Anyway, with that being said, here are thoughts or plans or ideas, number 11 to 20. As I hope you enjoy them. And for once, I'm drinking orange juice instead of tea, but that's only because I'm out of sugar at the moment, so my brother's gone to get me some rather kindly, as I consume most of the sugar. To be fair, I always have 2 sugars in each cup of tea, so you can see how much tea I drink for each video. I pretty much always have a cup of tea, so you can imagine how much sugar I get through. But anyway, here goes. So number 11, I was thinking if only I had a bit more of a spine, because a lot of time I can be quite spineless. I can't stand arguments or conflicts or confrontation. I don't always speak my mind, even though I'd love to be as honest as possible. I don't always speak my mind or whatever, because I can be, believe it or not, I can be quite shy. And also, as I say, I'm pretty spineless, so I like to be as honest as possible, but sometimes I'm too spineless to even be honest about certain things. So it's a difficult balance as well between being honest and a bit like sort of blunt, and not being too harsh or whatever. So I struggle to find that balance. But like each time let's say if someone asked me to do an errand, I would love to say like, what would I get in return, or what are you going to give me back? Which probably sounds a bit selfish, but I think if you think about going to work, not that I know a huge amount about that, but if you think about going to work, you ask for a wage, and you're confident you can ask for a pay rise or whatever, or say what's your boss going to do for you. And like if you go for when you go for an interview, you could always ask like what the pay is, and conditions and things like that. I think that just means you're believing in yourself, I suppose, if you have the guts to ask. I say you can always ask that if you have a spine, unlike me. But also I'd love to think about things I would change about the world. As I often mention, like my love for Italian football and Celtic, I would love to see like the best possible players, managers, coaches and whatnot come to Serie A or Italian football, like people like Pep Guardiola, maybe even Klopp. I wonder how he'd do in Serie A. And also Ange Postecoglou. It'd be interesting to see more attacking managers, as I often say. And I'd love to hear from Italian football fans and Celtic fans, like who you would like to see play for, coach, and stroke or manage in Serie A or stroke or Celtic, respectively. And also thinking about lots of changes I would make. I often think of the number 11 as meaning like changes. One cool thing to do would be to set up the MKS enterprises, which would be to help. In the past, when I was very money-minded and materialistic, it was actually like a for-profit thing. But I'd say it's kind of a social enterprise, or a not-for-profit in many ways. I think that would be the best way to describe it, but it would be to help African and Asian businesses and Irish businesses, and what I call the six, as I mentioned before. Anyway, moving on, number 12, I wish that I could find things that inspire and motivate me, and find mentors and possibly role models as well that I could learn from, and create meaningful work. As I mentioned in part one, I'd love to sort of do things that I know are going to make a lasting, preferably positive impact. I think that'd be pretty cool. As I mentioned in part one, I'd love to have my own creative room, or creative rooms even, where I get to write and do work on things and know that it's going to make an impact, and not be like people moving out my way without permission, moving out my way, or taking away from me without permission is probably a better way of putting it. And so I know it's going to be meaningful, if you know what I mean. There's going to be a purpose behind it, a meaning behind it. And for each line, I suppose I could have said in point number 11, but it is what it is. But yeah, for each line I get to write, let's say if the mosques or Muslim organizations help me, I would share Islamic literature, and the same for churches or Christian organizations or any other spiritual or religious group or businesses, political parties or whatnot. I know I've mentioned that point a few times, but yeah, that's something that would be pretty cool, especially for Christmas. And also could be like a Christmas present for me, as I say, but which I suppose what these videos are about. But also remembering my train of thought. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. What I was going to say. Oh yeah, also again, I know I mentioned this in part one, but I'd love for as many subscribers and viewers as possible. So that'd be a great Christmas present as well. Number 13, as I say, I'd like to think most of my ambitions and dreams and goals are quite, I don't know if selfless is the right word, but I think I'd like to see them as quite noble and honourable, perhaps, generally speaking, except for I think maybe 2 or 3, possibly 4 at the most, of my dreams and goals are selfish. And I think even that's probably being a bit harsh on myself. But yeah, I'd like to think most of them are quite noble. I know I'm blowing my own trumpet, so to speak, but as I say, the selfish one that I can think of, pretty much, or one of the, I think I can only think of 2, maybe 3 things that are selfish, and one of them is to benefit town football. As I say, I love to fundraise for town football from a selfish point of view. I wouldn't see Celtic as like trying to fundraise for Celtic as being a selfish thing, because, as I often say, Celtic were born out of poverty and oppression, where Brother Walford, who founded Celtic, who was a Catholic priest. I'm not a big fan of Catholicism normally, to be honest, as I often say, but he saw a lot of poverty and problems in Glasgow, and so he set up this team. So I don't see that as quite a selfish sort of dream. So the only selfish dream I can think of that I can share openly is my dreams to support Italian football, which I've supported ever since I was young. So sort of also for nostalgic purposes, I've always stuck with Italian football ever since I was quite young. So I see that as pretty much my only selfish, or probably one other dream that's selfish. But other than that, I think most of my dreams are selfless. But I include that for number 13 to be a bit selfish. And I suppose it's an excuse to eat chocolates as well, Christmas. Obviously, I'm mentioning Christmas a lot, as I said in part one, because it's exactly a month till Christmas. And number 14, I love to solve problems. I'd say the MKS enterprises could look at how to solve problems. I'd love to see how we can help people from across Africa, Asia, Ireland, and what I call 6 former colonies and things like that, and look at problems facing the world like climate change, global warming, natural disasters, and things like that, and look at how I could work with others to hopefully tackle such problems. Basically problem solving, to put it simply, which is a skill a lot of us dyslexics have, apparently. And I'd like to think I have some ideas on how to do so. At least I'd like to think I have some ideas, at least, even though I'm not the best practically at putting them into practice, but hopefully working with others, I can put them into practice as well. Number 15, I'd love to use Christmas to sort of promote my goals, and I wish, I dream that, or I dream and hope that people will be charitable because it's Christmas. So I'd love for them to support my plans, and I think Christmas or just around maybe this sort of time, if someone was thinking of setting up a business, it would probably be the best time to do so, because at Christmas, obviously, it's a big time for consumerism. A lot of people are anti-Christmas because of the consumer element, but obviously, most people go out and spend a lot of money at Christmas, so it's probably quite a good time to set up a business. But I'd love to know what you think about that. I was thinking, like, say, for instance, a month in advance. It means you're going to have a heck of a lot of customers in a month's time. But I wonder what time or what dates or days you think are best to start a business. I think it'd be cool to see more POC, people of colour, and neurodiverse people, disabled people, and other often disadvantaged groups setting up their own businesses and things like that. But I'd love to know what you think about that, about people starting up their own business. I know it's quite a risky sort of thing. As some people might say, if you can't get a job in the wider economy, or if you can't get a 9 to 5, then it does seem like the harder thing to do, but maybe it is something that you can give yourself opportunities. At number 16, again, I'd love to read your comments, and hope lots of people get involved in commenting on what your shopping list or list of desires or dreams or whatever would be, whatever you want to call it. And I'll say whether you think you should have selfish and non-selfish dreams, or more selfless dreams. And maybe you could share a list of your selfish and less selfish dreams, as you would see it yourself. I think that'll be interesting to read people posting up there your selfish and less selfish dreams, as well, to say what sort of things you would love to, or what would be on your shopping list, as in, like, it could be presents, material things, or it could be helping charities, or it could be I'd say more selfish and less selfish things like peace, world peace, or things like that, or whatever else. Number 17, if I'm really dreaming, I'd say I would love to see as many wealthy investors, or investors generally, investing into Italian football and stroke or Celtic. I dream to encourage investment funds, portfolios, and just basically investors, even people who take other people's money and invest it, like Royal London or people like that, but as well as like Berkshire Hathaway, Cascade Investment, Schwab Corp, which is founded or was founded by a fellow dyslexic, as it happens, and is apparently worth trillions as a company. And all sorts, basically anyone who invests money, any organisation that invests money, so any individuals, organisations, associations, businesses, or whatever, investment portfolios, investment vehicles, as they call them, or basically, I'll say whoever invests money, whatever they might be, hedge funds, sovereign wealth funds, or whoever else, to invest in Italian football and Celtic, hopefully especially at Christmas, and to help Italian football teams and Celtic buy the best possible players, coach. I suppose obviously Celtic already does have a manager, but in the future maybe to help the club to invest, to bring in the best possible managers in the future, coaches, players, scouts, and also and that kind of thing, and also help with the youth development, as much funding as possible to help with youth development and things like that as well. So that'd be cool. Number 18, as I say, I'd love to use Christmas to make a positive impact. So people, like, sort of try and help homeless people around, especially if the weather's really cold. I look at ways to help in soup kitchens, or just generally to give out hot food and hot drinks, or things like that, to especially hot drinks to homeless people, and also look at how to help and support disadvantaged people, whether that's disabled people, homeless people, or any other people with disadvantages. I think it'd be pretty cool for people to use that time at Christmas. As a lot of people think of Christmas as a negative time, where that crime goes up, they see it as pagan, and it's like where it's quite consumeristic, probably for some reason. But I think it'd be pretty cool if a lot of good things were done through Christmas. Number 19, I'd love to support people of colour, POC, in software development, and number 20, also in STEM. Anyway, I'm going to stop waffling and try to stop stumbling on my words as well. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you enjoyed these videos. As ever, I'd love to know what you think. I'm out. Peace and love.